Everybody thinks the AI revolution is about chips, memory, connectivity, and that makes sense. Faster GPUs, bigger models, smarter chatbots, it all sounds great. There's a much bigger problem quietly forming beneath the surface. And to put it plainly, we are just at the tip of the iceberg. Power. Every single AI image, every chatbot response, every stupid meme video that's generated, it all happens inside giant warehouses filled with servers consuming horrifying amounts of electricity. And I don't mean like, wow, that's a lot of power. I mean, this thing is consuming as much electricity as a small civilization does. In fact, data center power consumption as a percentage of the United States total power consumption is set to grow from a measly 4% in 2023 to about 12%. 1/8 of all of the US power is going to chips. Not you, not buildings, not transportations, not your AC, but data centers. And trust me, you're not the only one to be concerned / really dislike that idea in general. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But the point is, whether you like it or not doesn't matter because it's happening. And it's happening very fast. A single AI server rack today can draw between 120 and 150 kilowatts of electricity. Why should you care? Well, you shouldn't. I guess it doesn't matter. Just know, 3 years ago, this number was 10 times lower. 10 times in 3 years. To put it plainly, as chips get better and better, more power efficient, the demand for power doesn't go down. It's exponentially increasing, which sounds counterintuitive, and it is. This is Javon's paradox playing out right in front of us. This is one of the fastest increases in industrial power demand in modern history, and it's only getting started. So instead of crying at the sight of your electricity bill going up every single month, how can you actually take advantage of it? Just invest in companies that provide power, right? Companies that build nuclear reactors, companies that generate power for the grid. Easy solution. Well, it's not that simple. The IEA, the International Energy Agency, expects global data center electricity demand to more than double by 2030. The estimated amount of power needed by data centers by 2030 will rival that of India, a country with a population of almost 1.5 billion people. But anyways, back to the International Energy Agency projection, a doubling from today to 2030. That sounds manageable, right? We double things all the time. It sounds manageable until you realize that the grid and utilities are already falling behind, and we just really started building out these data centers. Take the US, for example. Electricity rates obviously vary across the country. In areas with more cities, denser populations, power demand is going to be higher. Let's not even talk about what it is in California, because that's absolutely disgusting. At the end of the day, no matter what price you're paying, whether you're getting absolutely railed or not, there's one thing you can be certain of, and it's that rate is going higher. It's going up. That means you're paying more because data center demands are taking more power from the grid, leaving less power for you to do natural human things like turn on the AC. And just to really rub it in your face, Wells Fargo wants you to know that AI power demand will grow 8,000%, ATX from 2024 to 2030. So this rising price that you see right here probably isn't going away. If anything, it's gonna speed up. But here's where the story gets really interesting. The power grid was not designed for this. It was originally built around very predictable demand. Homes, offices, factories, air conditioners, not giant AI campuses that take up as much electricity as literal cities. No exaggeration, by the way. Elon's Colossus data center draws about 300 megawatts at capacity, enough to power 200 to 300,000 homes. And don't worry. They're only trying to 5 to 10x that this year. And look, it's not just Elon, it's every hyperscaler. They're all doing it. It's Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, you name it. They're building massive campuses, not for kids to go to school and get educated, for data centers to store millions and millions of chips. They're all looking to build AI campuses that consume over 1 gigawatt of power, enough power for 1 million homes. So what? Just expand the grid, throw up some more ugly ass poles, some more transmission lines, infrastructure to generate and provide more power. It's easy. Just start building. Well, as you might imagine, when you're doing anything at a scale and you have to consult the government before you do it, it's a little slower than you might expect. The average time to put up new lines, does that say years? Electricity overhead transmission line. How does planning and permitting take 7 years? The biggest power providers have their hands tied. They don't have a choice. They are running years slower than what the hyperscalers want. Hyperscalers want power now for their data centers, not in a decade. By then they'll lose the AI race. They'll lose out on all that beautiful revenue that they're projecting. Who knows if that's going to happen or not. We won't get into that. It's for another video. Of course, these big power providers would want to expand the grid, expand their reach to provide power to these data centers, which is basically just printing money right now. But it's too complicated. Obviously, there's a little too much red tape here. Too much BS in the way, which is a problem when every single tech company on planet Earth is racing to dominate AI simultaneously. And that leads us to the biggest takeaway, because in AI, speed matters, and basically the only thing that matters. Yes, obviously reliability, scalability, flexibility, you could name a million different things. Yes, they're important, but these hyperscalers need power now. They can't afford to wait 7 years for the government to sit around, twiddle their thumbs, and put up a few ugly poles. Speed matters now because the other things can be optimized later. And so now the industry is all of a sudden starting to shift towards this other idea. Why anger Karen and her incessant need for the air conditioner? Why wait years behind bureaucratic red tape? What if these data center campuses could just generate their own power, not relying on the grid, completely off the grid on their own timeline? That's a great question. According to a report from Bloom Energy, 1/3 of data centers will be fully off grid by 2030. This is an absolutely massive and recent shift. Historically, data centers have depended heavily on the centralized grid. Now companies are starting to wake up to the fact that they have to start generating power on their own. They're now increasingly considering this behind the meter power solution, meaning generating power directly on site. Basically, we'll make our own electricity. And you know, this is where a tiny company like CGEH starts to become a little interesting. CGEH, Capstone Energy, operates in the micro turbine space, which sounds extremely nerdy and boring, and kind of is. But don't worry, I'm going to save you a lot of the details. You have to realize that these boring infrastructure companies could become growth stocks, growth companies overnight when the demand calls for it. And we're seeing clearly that's the way things are going right now. Intel manufactures chips. The stock's been flat for 25 years. Growth company overnight. The world needs more chips. The list goes on and on. You could find countless examples of this exact dynamic. And the idea of the business model of CGEH, Bloom Energy, is pretty simple. Instead of relying entirely on a distant, centralized grid or waiting 55,000 years for the next nuclear power plant to be built, why not generate electricity much closer to the source where you actually need it and make it more flexible? Design it what you need, optimize it for your use case. Much faster to deploy, much more flexible, less dependent on an already overloaded, expensive energy infrastructure, and also avoid being public enemy number one. This is exactly what companies like GE Vernova, Bloom Energy, Capstone do. And let me give you a little bit of perspective. If you were to have invested $1,000 into GE Vernova 20 months ago, yep, less than 2 years, you'd have 10,000, a 10x in less than 2 years. Bloom Energy, you'd have over 30K. These companies continue to skyrocket, post record customer orders over and over and over again, simply due to the fact, and about all the things we just talked about, the grid just isn't gonna cut it. Take too much power from the grid right now, people get angry, government makes rules, you're in trouble. Wait for the grid to build up more capacity, lose out being a leader in the AI space. Pretty easy decision. Buy all of the on-site, off-grid power solutions that you possibly can. Now, to be crystal clear, this video has built a thesis on the overall idea of the energy infrastructure transitioning from a centralized grid to behind the meter, off-grid, on-site power solutions, and why it's so insanely important and kind of obvious that data center builders will take this route. Capstone does not currently have a single hyperscaler data center contract, like their competitors Bloom Energy and GE Vernova do, hence why their stocks have literally went straight to the moon. But they may be getting one soon, frankly, because Bloom Energy is sold out till like 2028, and GE Vernova is currently taking orders for 2030. That doesn't give you an idea of just how much demand there is for these on-site off-grid products. I'm not really sure what does. They build a product that addresses a power problem in probably one of the biggest bottlenecks when it comes to the AI build out, as we've been describing. And again, step back, look at it from a hyperscaler perspective. It has nothing to do with being green friendly, even though they are, or having the utmost efficiency or the best, most world-class product in the world. It doesn't have to do with any of that. It has to do with getting the systems up and running right now, not tomorrow. Yesterday. They need it yesterday. CGEH has the capacity to do so, the funding to do so, so it kind of seems like it's only a matter of time. And I'm sure we've all heard the cliches, buy shovels during the gold rush, and that's true. Every industrial revolution creates secondary winners. During the gold rush, people sold shovels. During the internet boom, infrastructure companies exploded. During the ChatGPT release, Nvidia went from a slow growth gaming company to an AI processor monster overnight. And now AI is creating an entirely new energy infrastructure cycle, something like we've never seen before. This number right here, $1.4 trillion. Analysts estimate we're going to need that just to electrify this entire AI build out. Is it feasible? No, not really. Does our financial system care? No, not really. So it will probably happen. Will there be bumps along the way? Yeah. Will a lot of companies die trying? Yeah. The world, specifically the tech world, has been laser focused on the companies creating the intelligence. Your OpenAI, your Anthropic, your xAI. But increasingly, the focus is becoming on the companies capable of supporting that generation of intelligence, which means a lot of things. One of those things, and the most critical, is the power to do so without pissing everybody off. As we mentioned, Bloom Energy is sold out of their capacity until like 2028. GE Vernova is taking orders for 2030. They literally cannot make enough to meet demand. Who does that leave room for? Well, somebody else that could hypothetically come up with a similar solution to a massive problem. Interesting. With a faster time to deploy than anybody else, arguably the most important factor, as we discussed, capacity to supply this demand and the ability to scale up to the power that makes sense for a data center investment. But what's most fascinating about this story, about this thesis, isn't just one penny stock. It's the realization that humanity isn't just entering this phase of intelligence creation, not just the ability to come up with a better model, a better chip with every single release, but rather a new phase of energy generation, the need for energy innovation, finding other ways to avoid pulling power from a slow, bureaucratic, centralized grid, something that stood the test of time forever. In conclusion, no, this is not me saying go all in on a penny stock that could win data center contracts. Yes, that definitely could happen, but this is more me saying that the market may be massively underestimating still the scale of the coming power problem. And sometimes the best opportunities appear in the strangest little places, like a tiny fuel cell that wasn't interesting for like 20 years. Is this idea of on-site power the future of AI infrastructure? Do you want a deeper dive on CGEH, more of the fundamentals, the technical stuff that the company's actually doing, way more detailed than more of this like holistic thesis approach? Let me know in the comments. And while we're on that note, is this thesis just completely insane? Because honestly, the AI revolution could all fall apart tomorrow, and both of these things could be true. So I guess that's it. Oh, and by the way, if you're a trader, investor, if you like the market, check out marketspredictor.com. It is literally the easiest way you could see how specific signals have performed over time. Remember, every single thing that happens in the stock market has happened before. Obviously, without a platform that consolidates this information for you, best of luck. You're never gonna know. But the information's there, you just gotta take advantage of it. I can ask something as abstract as I want to see what usually happens after Nvidia crashes 5% after a rally of 20% in 10 days, and you can get the exact numbers. What has history told us? It's been a phenomenal buying opportunity. Who would have known? Now you do. And you can customize these parameters. You can go all the way back to 2000, over 25 years of data. Look at some of the things that have happened and just make smarter decisions overall. You can build your own portfolio, test signals before they happen, actually track them and be notified when signals trigger that you want to track. I promise it'll help you out in some way. MarcusPritchard.com. Good luck. I'll see you in the next one.